everyone. This is Francine Crawford. Welcome to my show. Autumn is here. Tonight, we're going to talk about nutrition. It seems like everything was leading up to having a better quality of life was to adjust our eating habits. So we have someone here who's going to tell us about nutrition and what to add to our meals and how to have nutritious meals even without losing the flavor. You know, some cultural meals that we have are hearty, but may not be good for us if we have certain illnesses. So she's going to teach us and tell us how to be able to add certain things that we don't have to lose the flavor and still enjoy our meals. So please stay tuned for my show on nutrition. Good morning, everyone. This is Francine Crawford, and this is my show, Autumn is Here. And today we're going to talk to you about nutrition. We've talked about so many different things, and it kind of adds up to trying to figure out how to modify our lifestyle and our habits. So today we're going to talk to nutritionist Patricia Pauyo. Welcome to our show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hi, I'm so glad that you were able to make it and to come on our show. Just let's start with telling me a little bit about yourself and your profession.
Well, sure. Well, my name is Patricia. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, also known as the Caribbean lifestyle dietitian on Instagram. I'm from Haiti, and I've been a dietitian since 2019. Currently working in Reno, but also I'm the owner and founder of Pathway Nutrition LLC, which is a virtual nutrition practice where I help my clients develop the habits and mindset that they need to help improve their health without necessarily sacrificing their cultural food. So you can still eat healthy and enjoy your cultural foods.
Okay, so that's online.
Yes, I do virtual nutrition counseling with patients.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, as you know, my show is Autumn is Here, and it's about preparing for growing older. It's for people who are going to be seniors, and it's people who are seniors, and for people who are caring for seniors. If there are things that you can do to help them to be healthy, stay healthy, or if they have been diagnosed with something, to get healthy. Mm-hmm. So it's not too late to get healthy, so we can change our habits. So explain to us how that, nutrition fits into that, how we're able to use nutrition to get us healthier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, that it's never too late to, start to make changes in your lifestyle to be healthier, right? So, but the earlier that you start, the better, right? You develop those habits earlier on and they can carry you for the rest of your life, pretty much. So nutrition, as we all heard, is like, food is thy medicine, right? It plays an important role in your health. And, what you put in can, in your body can definitely affect, how you feel, your energy level, your mindset, your risk for different chronic diseases, right? So it does play an important role, in the hospital or nursing home. If a patient is not eating well, they are at high risk. So you don't just want to give them medication all the time if, they're not eating well and, the body's still not able to do what it needs to do with the medication if they're not getting nutrients, because that's really where you put, you get the calories and nutrients that you need. It's like it's like putting gas in a car. You do want to make sure that you're getting good nutrition for your body so that way you can feel good and manage chronic conditions.
That's very interesting that, with the nutrients that you put in your body, if someone is not eating and they're taking medication, that doesn't help, that, it's not able to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, often it's not as effective because the body is so complicated. Yes, the medication can be helpful, but in order for the body to break down the medication and take it where it needs to, it still needs energy, right? So the medication doesn't necessarily have calories. So you need to be able to eat for it to be able to for the medication to be able to do its job properly. So.
Okay. So with obesity on the rise, and we've heard about it, even in younger children and things like that. I know that right now, when we were younger, we exercised a lot, even if we just walked around, went to the park or played stickball or whatever outside. Nowadays, children are, they're sitting and they're playing games and things like that. And, to me, everything ties into everything. So, if you're doing that now and you're younger, when you get older, you may tend to be a lot larger than you would have been. And so that's why I think obesity is on the rise. And then when you get older, that can lead to different diseases. So how could we modify some of our habits and how are things to help us to not get to that place or not be able to pick up these chronic diseases?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, obesity is on the rise, as well as so many other chronic conditions, the diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and they all kind of play into, they all kind of lead to each other sometimes. So if you have obesity, that can lead you to having heart disease. And if you have diabetes, that also can be a cause of obesity or heart conditions and high blood pressure and so on. So with all these chronic conditions, they are all often lifestyle-based conditions, right? So it means it's just based on your lifestyle. Sometimes when you are less active or when you're not eating a balanced diet, that puts you at higher risk of developing these chronic conditions, right? So, which is why I always say it's important to start early, or, wherever you are when you realize, okay, this is becoming a problem, let's change lifestyle habits, right? So, and there's so many things that you can do. Definitely physical activity is important to help not only manage obesity, but these other conditions as well. And I often, there's this new way of thinking that health at every size is something that can happen. So just looking at a person and looking at their weight is not a full picture of their health status, right? Because you can be on a larger body or at a higher BMI, which is problematic, but call it what it is, and still be healthy depending on your lifestyle. If you're eating well, you're exercising, you're managing stress, you're sleeping well, and your life values are looking good, then weight may not be the big issue, right? But you still want to make sure that you are doing those habits or lifestyle changes that's going to help prevent other chronic conditions. Like I said, eating well, exercising, drinking water, sleeping, managing stress. So, and those are the things I typically help my clients with, making sure that you have the right lifestyle for, to prevent those things.
Okay. So is there anything like today, we take medicines or vitamins, we're popping pills like crazy, whether they're vitamins or whether it's medicine. Can you speak to some of the foods that can help instead of, taking medicines or vitamins as much? I know that I had an experience with, I used to have to take iron twice a day and for years. And I didn't like, healthy food. So one day I got introduced to kale and I fell in love with it. And I started eating kale all the time. And then I no longer had to take the iron. It was interesting because I took the iron for years, twice a day. Right. And then when I went to the doctor, it was like, no need for me to take iron. So kale is in my diet like every day.
Good for you. I'm glad you were able to get that, taken care of. That's awesome. And yes, kale has a lot of nutrients in it.
I didn't know that. I just happened to do that. So that makes me think that there are other things that you can do,
Definitely. So the thing is, when it comes to supplements, a lot of people take supplements because they feel like, oh, I'm not eating well anyway, so let me just take this pill because that quote unquote will solve all my problems, which is not necessarily true, because supplements is something that you want to have if you are deficient in something, right? And supplement industry is not something that's FDA approved. So you are putting yourself at risk when taking certain supplements because you don't know exactly what's in them. So they can cause more harm than good. So I often caution about taking supplements first. Not only you want to make sure that you have a deficiency, but also you want to know what's in the supplement and if it's effective for you. With that said, before reaching out for the pills, we want to make sure that you are eating well, because foods, is where you want to get all of your nutrients. Fruits and vegetables are basically the supplements of your diet, right? That's where you get all your vitamins, your minerals, your cancer-fighting properties in some foods, and all the phytochemicals that your body needs for it to be healthy. So which is why you want to eat a balanced diet. You want to make sure that you are eating mostly fruits and vegetables in your diet. And, things like kale, spinach, and other vegetables also have a lot of other nutrients beside the iron, right? Some nuts also. So it's hard for me to tell you one specific food that you want to have, because you just want to have a variety of all of them, right? Which is why sometimes you hear people say eat a rainbow, because you want to have different color fruits and vegetables in your diet. They all come with different phytochemicals and nutrients that's good for your body, right? So that's pretty much it. Eat your vegetables and your fruits before you reach for the vitamins.
So would you suggest, if you're going to take a supplement, to kind of ask your doctor, say if you go to a doctor regularly, would you suggest that to ask your doctor before you take a supplement? Like, it's not just good to go and get one off the shelf?
Definitely. Because some of these supplements, not only you don't know what they have, but if you're on a certain medication that is prescribed to you by the doctor, combination of those medications can cause a lot of harm. So you do want to let your doctor know what medication that you're taking, and your pharmacist as well, to make sure that whatever you're taking, they don't have any side effects when you take them together. So and you should follow up with your doctor on a regular basis. So yes.
Okay. So with the food and nutrients, it like, as you grow older, we know that there's some things that deteriorate, our eyes and different things in our body. That's going to happen naturally.
Yes.
Is there anything that we should know about, like the essential things, so when you're growing older, that you should take while you're older, or that you lose certain things that now you may have to take a supplement or something?
So I know now, often, like in the diet culture, they always want to tell us to give up certain food groups, like don't have carbs, don't have protein, don't have vegetables, don't have fruits, which is problematic, because all of your food groups are always going to be necessary for you to have, whether, regardless of your age, right? You do want to have your carbs, you do want to have fat, protein, and different minerals, right? So, what changes as you get older is the amount of those things that you're going to need, right? So, let's say if you're young and you're active and you're doing exercise, your protein needs might need to be higher. Now, that's also not considering any chronic conditions, right? Like diabetes, kidney disease, and so on, because that then affects the different amount of these food groups that you're going to need for your body to function properly, right? So your calorie needs might be a lot higher when you're younger and more active and doing 100 billion things in your day, because you're burning more calories you need to replenish, right? But as you get older, you might notice that not only because your appetite decreases, like the hormone productions, your body start to function differently, you might not feel hungry as much, so your calorie needs will also decrease. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't eat carbs or vegetables or protein, right? So it's just like your portion of these things will be different. And to help you figure this out, working with a dietitian could help you figure out exactly how much of these things that you need to eat, depending on your age group. So to summarize it and answer your question directly, you still need carbs, you still need protein, you still need fat, healthy fats in your diet. And it's just the amount that will change depending on your needs as you get older.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting, because so often, they're saying, well, they are saying don't eat any carbs and things like that, and
which is crazy, because carbohydrates is like the fuel that your body needs. It's the main source of energy for your body. So if you are not eating carbohydrates, you will feel tired. You will feel like like you will lose sources of different nutrients, because they have fiber, they have minerals, and so on. So like you do need carbohydrates in your diet. So don't let me get started on a rant here.
Oh, it's okay. Give us what you got. But so let me ask you something. A lot of times people talk about brain fog or something like that. Is that related to not having certain things? Do you know if food assist in that, or has anything to do with that?
Yeah, definitely. Like food can definitely play a role, because depending on your sources of food, like what's mostly in your diet, your body, is not going to function properly. And also different habits, right? So if you're not sleeping well, you will feel tired and not have the energy to think clearly throughout the day. Or like if you're skipping meals, then your body doesn't have enough calories for for your brain to function properly. So often people skip breakfast or they only eat a small amount, which then can lead to brain fog. And people who are doing fasting, which may be problematic for some people and may not be necessary. So, and also the type of foods, again, like your fruits and vegetables, they contains all the nutrients really that you need for a healthy diet, and eating a variety of them without necessarily figuring out, okay, I need magnesium specifically, so I'm just going to focus on magnesium rich foods. No, you can just eat a variety of these foods prepared in a variety of ways, and your body will know, will replenish all the stocks of different things that it needs. So when it comes to brain fog, definitely your nutrition, your lifestyle plays a role in it.
Okay, because I know that sometimes as you grow older, you forget more, you're not clear in your thinking, things like that. And
well, we also have to think about like you mentioned, like your body starts to deteriorate naturally, right? And sometimes you don't just want to wait until those things are noticeable for you to take action, which is why when you start early, it's definitely more beneficial to prevent the deterioration of certain, slow down, I guess I should say, the deterioration of the body. And yes, vitamin D is something that's very essential for us when we're younger, but also as an adult, because when it comes to, your mental health, vitamin D is often lacking. We don't spend enough time in the sun. We're not eating vitamin D rich foods and things like that. So that's one thing I could say when it comes to mental health, especially in the elderly population, that's often lacking.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really good to know. I know that they've been talking about that, but not actually explaining how important vitamin D is. People they're giving it, but you don't actually understand that. Okay, that's going to help you now and as you get older.
Yeah, and it's not just for your brain. Vitamin D plays a big role in the body, like for your bones, for your heart, and so. Which, without making nutrition so complicated, they say just give the vitamin D, but sometimes we do need to know. And a lot of these vitamins, they don't just do one thing in the body. They help sometimes with breathing, sometimes with like just breaking down food, like different functions that your body does. Like if you look at like the metabolism of foods and the role, all your vitamins and minerals, that's really what they need. They're necessary for you to be able to speak and breathe and just sit there and be alive. This is what the role that some of your vitamins and minerals are, that's what they do.
Okay. Well, listen, I know that you said you have another aspect where you teach people or how to like not lose all their flavor in their food or be able to use substitutes and things like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So often with, agricultural foods, often are first very healthy and nutritious, right? Because I'm from Haiti. I enjoy my vegetables, for the Haitian culture, like, the legume, which is like vegetable stew and so on. And all the other cultures also contains a lot of different vegetable-based dish that, like I said, I keep saying to eat your fruits and vegetables. They're there, right? But often with the, American culture, they tell you to eat different ways. They tell you to eat only salads or like, kale, for example. Yes, kale is nutritious, but, imagine somebody from Haiti who's never eaten kale. You're telling me to give up my legume, my eggplant dish to eat kale. Like, that doesn't fly well with me. So, so I help my client realize that their cultural foods are also rich in vegetables and fruits in ways that they can add them to their diet. Sometimes it's the preparation that needs to switch a little bit. So maybe if you're dealing with high blood pressure, you want to reduce the amount of salt you put in your food, or use different herbs and spices that are also rich in nutrients that will help you manage your blood pressure, right? So it's often about that, like maybe instead of frying things all the time, let's try baking it or steaming it, even though, frying once in a while may be okay, but it's really about depending on the person's lifestyle and what their goals are, right? What changes that they need to make. So often I say reduce the salt, use healthier fats, right? Like olive oil or avocado oil, especially when you're frying things, or cooking method like baking instead of frying sometimes, and just really adding those vegetables, making sure that majority of the things that you're eating are your vegetables.
Okay. And flavor will just come from the vegetables, or is there certain flavors that you?
Well, herbs and spices, like, the thymes, the rosemary, all the different dry herbs that we have in our culture. That's where flavor comes from, right? I often say use those spices first before we add salt, because sometimes we put the salt and it's like, oh, that's not the right taste, so let me put more salt. And too much salt in the diet may cause like high blood pressure, right? So, and it may affect your thirst. So if you're also not drinking enough water, we don't want too much of that. So, yes, your herbs and spices, they're rich in nutrients. You want to have a lot of it, and they make your food taste good. So why not?
Oh, great. Well, that's me. If it doesn't taste good, put more salt.
Well, try different herbs. Try, like in my kitchen, it's like I have way more spices than I need. And I'm always exploring. I enjoy clients to be curious. And, if you're in the grocery store and you haven't used a certain spice, try it, buy the small amount and see what it makes your food taste like, and you can try on different food. Maybe it doesn't taste so good on your chicken, but it might taste good in your salad. So play around with those spices. And I often say, try to avoid the mixed spices, like the ones that have salt in them, because then if you are somebody who's dealing with high blood pressure or heart disease and you want to control your salt intake, it's harder for you to measure how much salt that you're putting in your diet that way. Not to say that you cannot use them at all, but try to use the different herbs and spices or the salt-free options. Right. That way you can put as much as you want without having to worry about the salt. And you get to control how much salt that you're putting in your food just by using, the salt by itself, right? Because we have to be mindful and realize that the amount of salt that's recommended on a daily diet is about 3 teaspoons, which is about 2,500 milligrams. So when we're just shaking the salt shaker or using those mixed spices with salt in them, it's harder to measure and control how much you're putting.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. This is great information. I just wanted to ask you if there's anything else that you want to say to the audience that would help, or that you know about that, that make them aware of, and maybe helpful habits, anything.
Yeah. So I typically say, people always asking me, oh, you're a dietitian, what should I do? And you probably heard me say it already 300 times in this podcast, but eat your fruits and vegetables. Find ways to add them into your diet. Reach out for your cultural foods and your vegetable-based dishes. There is a difference between your starchy vegetables and your non-starchy vegetables. Mm-hmm. And the non-starchy ones is what you want to have more of, your leafy greens, your broccoli, kale, and so on. So, and yes, eat a variety of them. There's ways to learn to eat them if you don't typically have them in your diet, and working with a dietitian can help you, with that process. So that's it. That's the healthiest thing that you can do. Eat your fruits and vegetables.
Okay, great. I'm gonna try to make some changes.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm here for support for anybody who needs it. So feel free to reach out if you need the support.
Okay. Oh, absolutely. And I'm just so grateful that you took the time out to give us some great information that's going to help us live a healthier life. My show is about preparing and planning, as you grow older, and to be able to help those who you care for caregivers, to help those maybe that are preparing foods and things like that for people who have maybe illnesses or things that will help them to just live a better life. Even if you have an illness, you can still change things. So this is great. This is great information, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. I appreciate it. And anytime, I'm going to reach out to you and let me know, give me your information, and I will put it on after the show. We're going to just list it also so people can get in touch with her if they need to have a dietitian or they want to know about modifying their lifestyle and their foods and things like that. So this is great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. And this was a pleasure. I enjoyed sharing my, tips with everybody.
All right. Okay. Well, have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.